Hey guys, so I'm back, Kentucky Basketball Access, fourth drop, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Really quickly, funny little story about my second drop, and I did make a bold prediction that Kentucky would beat Tennessee, which is not outlandish. We swept Tennessee last year and weren't really that good, and our overall record against Tennessee is not even worth saying because we have absolutely dominated them in our history. Hasn't even been close. And we have, 8 national championships? They have 0. They have how many Final Fours? 0. How many? We quadruple them in SEC tournaments, championships, regular season. So, anyway, this is all fun. Basketball talking, this is fun for me. It's a passion of mine, but it's good to put it in perspective. But it's also good to have a little fun. Someone told me yesterday, they've heard Rocky Top sung a lot, right? Rocky Top's been sung at football games, right? Basketball games. But they said, what? One place where Rocky Top has never been sung or played, I guess, and that's at the Final Four. I'll leave it at that. Not even worth discussing anymore. But I love the Tennessee engagement. It's fun to have a rivalry with someone that you've just dominated and, let them win every once in a while. The last several years with Rick Barnes, they played well and beat us a little bit, for sure. But to even discuss this being an actual legitimate rivalry is like saying that we're a rival with them in football, right? And they've won one national championship like back in 1998 with T. Martin. Anyway, this is not a Tennessee roast fest, but it is funny how the only relevancy Tennessee really has is football, and they're not even really good in football, never have been, other than a few years, maybe in the 90s. Anyway, so that being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, whew, that felt good. Another team in tennis we played recently, Vandy. So had a crushing win against Vandy, scored 109 points. Not gonna, get super excited about that. We should have beat them. It was a sound 30-plus win. I will say that Alabama only beat them by 3 points, 75-78, in Nashville about a month or so ago. So just saying, regardless, won that game. Didn't have 2 of our starters, Trey and DJ, playing, but nonetheless, that's a good win. Tomorrow's a huge game. Huge game against Gonzaga. Look, Gonzaga, they're 16-6. They're third place in the West Coast Conference. Just lost to Santa Clara, or St. Mary's, excuse me. And St. Mary's is they're 11-0 in the West Coast. West Coast Conference is not that good of a conference. Gonzaga should be playing in the Pac-12 in my opinion, but that's a different story. But regardless, they've got talent. Nolan Hickman, remember him? Nolan Hickman, one of their starting guards, averages around 13 points per game, was committed to Kentucky several years ago, then flipped and went to Gonzaga. So a little bit of an interesting story there. Gonzaga beat us last year, and we just didn't play well against them. They kind of took it to us in, it wasn't actually in Spokane. Maybe it was in Spokane, but we didn't play in Gonzaga's arena. So anyway, we're going to have some payback, hopefully. But, to be frank, I'm not really sure I know what to expect. If we play like we should play, we should absolutely dominate them. We have, again, I'm not holding back from the fact that we have 10 NBA guys, and then Jordan Burks comes out last game and plays and Cal said, this guy's going to be a pro player. So, I'm just saying, that's a different subject, but we've got 10 dudes, and if they're all healthy, and that's going to be Cal's problem, is knowing how to allocate playing time. But that's something that's, he's getting paid the millions of dollars to make that decision. Anyway, super important for us to stay on track tomorrow. I've said this, we need to string together 4 good wins. Now, Vandy, to me, is probably okay, they're not very good, okay? I'm just saying, but they'd be equivalent to a 15, 16, 14 seed in the NCAA tournament. Like a team that would win, I don't know, the MEAC conference. Be someone like Vandy, right? They could compete and maybe win that. So that to me is a good starting point. Gonzaga, they're kind of a fringe team, but I think they'll make the NCAA tournament, and I think they'll probably be, an 8, 9, 10 seed. So this would be a good, second round matchup for us. So we win this game, we go to Auburn. That's another game. We have opportunities right now to get on a run to really give us some momentum going into the SEC tournament here in about 4 weeks, okay? But it's imperative for us, again, I'm going to be a realist here. I'm hopeful, and I'm going to give you some bold predictions here in a second. Well, let me go back here. Oops, sorry. Stay. Good. I'm going to give you some bold predictions here in a second with how I see the rest of the year playing out. Our final, I believe, 9 SEC games, or 8, is it 9 SEC games or 8? Anyway, it's either 8 or 9 SEC games, and I think including Gonzaga maybe our 9th game. Anyway, I'll make some bold predictions here in a second. But super important for us to get on a run to demonstrate that we can string together wins. Because here's the thing, if you go into March without having won 4 quality games or 4, and I think we have one period this year where we won 4 games in a row, okay? And again, that wasn't like we weren't playing horrible teams, but we were playing some teams that likely would not be able to make it to the NCAA tournament. So that was when we beat North Carolina, beat some other teams around that time. And so, again, that's kind of what I'm using as a litmus test to see how good we can be. So we have games. So let's go ahead and start tomorrow against Gonzaga. So let's talk a little bit about Gonzaga. So they have dudes. They have guys who are highly rated out of high school. They're not the Gonzaga they've been in the last 10 years, okay? But doesn't mean that they're not they're going to be a quality opponent. They're going to be ready to come in tomorrow, first time in Lexington, first time in Rupp Arena. They want to prove that they're a blue blood. They're not because they don't have the history. But if you're looking at, I think I saw a statistic recently, they've won more NCAA tournament games since 2018 than anyone else in the country, okay? And if you remember that during the COVID year, I think 2021, they went to the national championship and lost, I believe, to Baylor. And so, look, they've got a pedigree, all right? And they're not going to come into Rupp Arena tomorrow intimidated. It's just not how it's going to be. So we've got to come in composed, ready to play. And here's what I'm thinking. Now, Gonzaga typically has, like, they have the Kelly Olynyk's. They have the Drew Timmeys, the dudes who just, like, you don't really like, but are just really effective, okay? And they're going to come in playing physical tomorrow. I mean, they have a guy, Graham Ike is his name, averaging 15 points per game, and he's going to be average about 7.5 rebounds per game. So he's going to be a load up front, all right? We're going to have to match up with him, and if Trey's not playing, we're going to have to look. And Trey's had a hurt back. I think some of the things that's been problematic with him the last several games is he's just been playing hampered because the guy's losing like 11 to 13 pounds per game. It's crazy. So Z, Aaron, and Ugonna have to step up and play physical. And one guy who he absolutely will play physical, and I think he's going to be a big performer tomorrow on the defensive end, rebounding, is going to be Adu Thiero. That dude to me has been a revelation this year. He's coming into his body, playing physical. He takes the ball to the rim, kind of like Keith Bogans did back in the day. Keith Bogans took it to the rim so tenaciously. And I see Adu Thiero is 2 inches taller, but has that type of physicality. I think he's going to be key tomorrow in matchups. But we got to have our big guys step up tomorrow. They have to play physical. They have to play good defense. They have to get block shots, and they got to rebound the ball. We have to have dudes committed. Look, on the defensive end, all 5 guys have to crash the defensive rebound. Have to go. Obviously, offensive rebounding is different. Defensively, it goes without saying. You have to be just decent defensively. And we have the tools. I mean, to say, I hear some people say, Kentucky's just going to be bad the whole year. Defense, we have to deal with it. They're not going to, no, I'm not going to accept that. All right? These dudes, if you play basketball and you have a grid for basketball, defense, yes, is for sure technique. And you have to have athleticism. That's the main thing. Can you move your feet? The other things are just like, are you going to commit to communication? Are you going to commit to moving your feet laterally? Are you going to get on your toes, the balls of your feet? Are you going to get your behind low to the ground? These things are not, they're effort. That's why when I hear people say they're going to be bad defensively. No, they're not going to be bad defensively. They don't have to be. Maybe they will. Maybe we'll just be a bad defensive team the rest of the year. But you have the talent, you have the athleticism, you have the commitment, and you've seen guys keep up, like last game, that Mannion guy, I think it was Manjon, that's how you pronounce his name. He eviscerated us last year. 3 times we played them, but in Rupp Arena and the SEC tournament, that dude, we could not keep him out of the lane. This past game, he got some buckets, but we absolutely, both Reed and Rob, both moved their feet and stayed in front of him much better than any guy we had last year. Okay, so I'm saying there is the potential. The potential is there. It's the effort. It's the willingness, because getting down and playing defense, the bottom line is it's just easier to slack off defensively. It's easier to be lazy defensively. It's not as glorious on the defensive end. So it's a mentality, it's an approach, and if Cal can begin instilling that, because traditional Cal teams get down and play dirty defense, dirty in a good way, not in a, trying to hurt someone way, okay? They can do that. They have the ability. So our guards move laterally, communicate on the screens, hedge hard if you're the big guys. Those sort of techniques you can do. Let's see what happens tomorrow, okay? And here's the thing. The bottom line is, when you play, we play like an NBA team, and you don't see NBA teams holding teams and again, it's a shorter shot clock, they play longer, but here's the thing, in the NBA you have a lot more possessions, okay? College basketball, the shot clock's longer, you have less possessions, so obviously you're not going to score as much, the other team's not going to score as much, but the way we play, how fast we shoot the ball, and when we're getting the ball up, we're shooting a lot of threes, shooting a lot of quick twos. When that happens, you're giving the opportunity for the other team to score. So look, we just have to be good offensively and then decent defensively. Like that's an easy recipe, because I said this to someone recently, and I'll say it again, even after some of our inexplicable losses, which really, the only horrible loss this year, we have two bad losses. At South Carolina, which South Carolina is proving to be a good team, and then UNC Wilmington. That was a horrible loss. But some of our losses, just hey, look, man, a few plays here or there, this could be a completely different season. We could easily be 18-4 right now, easily. And here's the thing, guys, Big Blue Nation, hear this. Everyone is losing. Wisconsin lost recently. Lost on the road to a bad Michigan team who was 8-15. Wisconsin is 11th. North Carolina lost to Georgia Tech, lost again to Clemson. Okay, they've got 5 losses, and they're supposed to be gangbusters. The only teams who have 2 or 3 losses are Purdue and UConn. And those teams aren't super impressive. They're good teams. No team is a gangbuster this year. No one. Okay? So sit tight. We're 16-6. All right. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get up to 17-6. Get some momentum going into Auburn. So look. We're not in a horrible place. All right. We actually have tomorrow is a great opportunity for us to get a statement win, a net 1 win. We're 2-4 against net 1 opponents. Miami and Florida is playing awful, so that win doesn't look nearly as good as it did back in November. But not to fear. So I think a few things offensively tomorrow. Let's continue. Hey, let Rob go. Let Rob go, man. That dude has been playing out of his mind. He needs to play at least 30 minutes per game. Antonio, 30 minutes per game. Reed, 30. Those 3 guys, and DJ, again, like I said this before, we need DJ. But those 3 dudes, Rob, Reed, and Antonio, have to be our primary guys out on the court. And then I think DJ is a 20-minute per game guy. And then we have other dudes who are going to share the front court, okay? It's kind of and to me, I think what Cal's doing with the front court is still look, whoever's playing the best right now will get clocked. And it should be interesting to see tomorrow. I do think Cal's going to have to start consolidating his rotation. It's tough to play, more than really 9 guys going into the SEC tournament. I mean, we were platooning back in 2015, but you had 10 guys who were, and when I say 10 guys who were pro players, were 10 dudes who actually the next year were pro players, I think. Maybe a few. Poitras, I think, came back, and there was someone else, but and Euless came back as well. Those 8 other dudes, I think, went pro. So that was just a totally different animal. We don't have 10 guys like that. But we still have 10 dudes who are legit pro prospects. So my prediction, here's some bold predictions. I've kind of previewed. Oh, and let's see, Gonzaga's got a good point guard, the Nembhard guy. His brother played, I think Andrew Nembhard was his name's Ryan Nembhard. His brother Andrew plays for the Pacers now, played for Gonzaga. If you remember, he used to play for Florida. Anyway, he's now in the pros. His brother right now, Ryan's playing for them. He played for Creighton last year. Solid point guard, averages almost 6 assists per game. So again, this is another opportunity. He is going to be crafty. And I said this on the Tennessee preview. I said this, look, if you don't contain Zakai Ziegler, it's going to be a long night. I said that. We didn't contain him. He had 24 points and 12 assists. Dominated. Got to the lane whenever he wanted. Penetrated, put pressure on our defense. Was a one-man fast break. We did not contain the penetration, didn't contain him, and that ultimately was one of the big reasons we lost, okay? So this Nembhard guy, we've got to contain, all right? I think he's vulnerable. I think that for some reason when I've seen him play, I think he's vulnerable to make poor decisions if you can just apply good pressure and keep him from creating. If you're getting 6 assists per game in college, that is ridiculously good, all right? 4 assists per game is good in college. If you're getting 6, close to 6, that means you're really putting pressure on the defense. So again, got to contain him. But I wanted to mention that in our preview. Okay, so now bold predictions, okay? Hey, man, look, you got to go big or go home. Like, I'm going to make some predictions here. I'm going to be wrong a little bit. It's fine, okay? But I'm not going to make crazy predictions that aren't based on statistics and common sense. Common sense statistics say, look, we're not losing 3 games in a row in Rupp. All right, now, if we do, BBN is not going to be happy, and you shouldn't be happy. We absolutely should win this game tomorrow. So obviously, I'm going to predict us winning this game. I think we're going to put up points against Gonzaga tomorrow. I think we're going to put up 95 points, and I think they're going to go for 82. I think we're going to get a 13-point win, all right? So 95-82 against Gonzaga. Again, just do our thing on offense. There's nothing special. Get the ball out and go. When you get the ball, it's simple. Simple, fast break. You get the ball up, pass it ahead, the guy's open, penetrate, kick, be unselfish. Don't dribble the air out of the ball like I would do when I played, okay? I'll admit it. I did that, okay? So don't do that. Get it up quick, all right? Get good rotation, penetrate, kick, crash the offensive boards, get second chance, be unselfish, and then just play decent defense. So it's a pretty simple recipe for us because we got the dudes to absolutely dominate if we're clicking. That's just the bottom line we do. If you don't have the horses, you're not going to win the race. All right, that's a pretty simple phrase. We've got the horses, so we just got to do our thing, man. All right, so that's the bold prediction. Let me give you a little bit of bold prediction the rest of the year, okay? We're 16-6. We win tomorrow, puts us at 17-6, 6-4 in the SEC. We're kind of middle of the pack. I think we're 5th place in the SEC, which is not acceptable. We don't want we don't want to have to play 4 games in the SEC tournament. It's looking like right now we'll play on Thursday, okay? That means Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if you want to win the whole thing. Okay, not a crazy thing to do. Teams have done that before. You want that double bye, all right? We need to win, okay? So we're 6-4, so we need to win 4 out of our last 6 SEC games. Okay, or no, I'm sorry, 6 out of our last 8 SEC games. All right, we need to do that. Okay, and I believe, if I'm wrong, I may have to check but I think we have 8 SEC games left. We need to win 6 of those. Okay, all right, and that would put us, at 12-6, right? We played 18 SEC games, 12-6. If we're 12-6, okay, I think that gets us a double bye. Okay. Again, we'll see what other teams do. Kind of up in the air right now. Beating Auburn's key. That's a huge win if we get that win. We'll talk about that later. All right. So anyway, that's my bold prediction. 12-6 in the SEC. We win tomorrow. That would put us at 17-6. That would mean we will be 23-8 going into the SEC tournament. Hey, look, if we're 23-8 going into the SEC tournament, I like that. Give me that all day. All right. If we can go 6-2 in our final 8 games, we're 23-8 going into the SEC tournament. I like that. I think that puts us at a 3 seed, especially if we beat some good teams. We beat Auburn and Tennessee. It's in the bank, bro. We go 6-8. We beat both of them at Auburn and at Tennessee. We're 23-8, 12-6 in the SEC. That's my bold prediction. All right. Well, guys, we'll catch you after the Gonzaga game. We'll probably do a drop on Sunday or Monday to talk about the game, talk about the upcoming games that week, and I'll probably have my co-host Tony James back for that episode. All right, you guys have a wonderful evening and or a wonderful day. We'll see when I drop the video. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. But anyway, guys, talk to you soon. All right.